Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. Out doing my chores today, filling up my wood pile. We got a storm coming in. Supposed to have a lot of rain and wind and then snow on the back side of it. And wanted to bring in some wood while it's still nice outside. And I was having a conversation recently with one of my relations, and we were talking about the Depression. And some of the indicators for depressions and recessions, depending on what terminology you want to use. And I don't know if people know this or realize this when people start talking about, depressions and economic collapses and stuff. There's a lot of that talk about the Depression on YouTube and especially on the prepping channels. People talk a lot about the Depression, and one of the indicators for a severe depression or recession is deflation. Now, I know we are in the opposite right now. The prices of everything are going up. It's extremely inflationary economic environment. Now, I'm no economic expert in any way, shape, or form. This is just coming from, sort of my own experiences and the things that I were told. But during the Depression, the first few years of the Depression, prices on everything just collapsed because when people don't have any money and they're not buying your product, what's the first thing that people who are selling stuff do? They lower the prices until people buy their product again because they want to make money too, right? So that's how that all works. And the one story that my relation told me was in the 20s, it was inflationary. So it was an inflationary buildup to the Depression, and then the financial sector collapsed, and then it was deflationary after that, basically until World War II started. And he said during the 20s, a dozen eggs was as high as $3 a dozen. But then after the Depression set in, the prices collapsed so much, a dozen eggs was 12 cents. So that was your big swing between inflation and deflation over the course of about a decade. And I remember back in the end of 2008 and the beginning of 2009, worked across the street from a gas station, and literally every day I looked at the price of the gas, and the price went down a few cents every day. And it bottomed out around like $1.39 a gallon, if I remember correctly. And I remember talking to different coworkers at the time, and they said, "Oh man, that's great. I can fill up my gas tank cheap. Driving to work is cheap now. It's all great." And I said, "No, it's not really great." I said, "That's deflationary, and sudden and quick deflation of commodities prices like that's not a good economic indicator. That means there's more problems to come," and that's exactly what did happen. More and more people started losing their houses, and the stock market was crapola, all of 2009. So there was that and I know the government figures are different and whatnot, but it took a long time to bounce back from that. And so now, again, we're seeing that inflationary buildup. We're seeing prices go up, 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 up. And at some point, if there's a correction in the stock market, or if there's some type of collapse in the commodities prices, you're going to see that deflationary cycle repeat itself again. So when people start talking about economics and that kind of stuff, as a layman living out here in the middle of nowhere, one of the things that economic indicators that I look at is the sudden and the rapid dropping of prices. And probably the easiest one to watch, like I did in 2008, is the price of fuel. And there's always some people that still have money and they can still hold on to things, but property taxes are a huge thing that everybody's pretty much got to work for property taxes, because if you can't pay your property taxes on your house or your property, it's going to revert back to the government. And I got a story on this too. I don't know if I've ever told this before, but I wanted to mention it. For a lot of years, we used to stay with some older people up in the Upper Peninsula, way up in the Upper Peninsula. And I remember going back to this one particular trailhead one day, and we were back in miles upon miles upon miles, and we were probably about 3 miles out from this particular trailhead that I was going to, and there was this old cabin sitting up on a bluff over a river, and I'm like, this is all like state and federal land in here. How the hell does one person get, a couple of acres and an easement back into this off of this little trail here? And, and it was an old cabin. You could tell it was, it was hand-hewed logs and stuff. It had been there a long, long time, and it was, kept up. So when I got back to where these old folks were staying that we were staying with, I asked them about that. I said, hey, how does, one get a piece of land to build a cabin back in the middle of nowhere like that? And he said during the Depression, there were still some people that had money. So they could still pay the taxes on their property, and they were able to keep it where everybody else couldn't pay the taxes on what they had, and it all reverted back to the government. And he said that's why you'll see small little tracts of land, a few acres, back in the middle of federal and state land, because that land never reverted back. There was some people there that had money that held on to that had enough money to pay the taxes and kept it going throughout the Depression up till present day, up till that time. And that's how small little pieces of land that are back in the middle of nowhere somehow, seem to have made it throughout the years. But that deflationary cycle is something that I wanted to mention. If there's a sudden and a quick collapse in prices, that is a definite indicator that something economic is going on, and it's bad. So anyways, this is Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Hope you guys got a little information, a little entertainment out of this video. Just discussing some of my conversations and recollections of the past here on different economic problems. You guys have a good one.